Is it possible to get a table saw for under $300 these days? Well, what about a miter saw? How about both? Well, today we're going to take a look at one of the craziest tools I've ever seen, combining the power of a table saw with the versatility of a miter saw. So let's find out if this unique tool is a total gimmick or a game changer for a small shop. A convertible miter saw. Sounds crazy. Two essential shop tools in one unique tool frame. Hey, what do you call a blonde with two brain cells? Pregnant. With twins. Well, I couldn't believe it either, and I also couldn't believe the price of $300 exactly. If I look back on the first table saw and miter saw that I got, I spent about $408. But I purchased both of those saws for home improvement projects, and I quickly outgrew them once I got into woodworking. And once I got into woodworking, I went with DeWalt, purchasing their table saw and miter saw for about $1,100. And these two tools are so good that I never got rid of them, as they're still rocking my shop in the background. But this evolution 2-in-1 is not necessarily about woodworking, it's more about home improvement. Homeowners that don't have the space to dedicate to a full-size table saw and miter saw. And because I love tools and cutting material, I just had to see what this saw was all about. So let's take a look at the features of this saw and talk about the benefits and drawbacks of owning a saw like this. So let's get this bad boy out of the box and see what it's all about. So out of the box, you're going to see there's a few pieces here. Let's take a closer look to see what comes inside. You'll first find the miter/table saw along with the fence for the table saw, and finally you'll find a riving knife with a blade guard. And other accessories include a clamp for your miter saw, handles for the saw, a blade changing wrench, a dust collection bag, a push stick, instructions for the saw, as well as a multi-material blade. And if we look at the blade, you can see it's a pretty nice blade to have for home improvement projects, as it has the ability to cut through steel, aluminum, wood, as well as plastic. So let's grab that blade wrench, or what they call a pin spanner, and install the blade. The first thing that we'll do is we'll take the two pins on the pin spanner and place them into the arbor nut. With the pin spanner in place, we can grab the hex key that's stored in the back of the saw, and then we can loosen up the nut on the arbor. Then we can slide the blade in and tighten it into place, and after that we should have our blade installed. With the blade now installed, we can now install the blade guard for the table saw. If we look at the back of the blade guard, you'll see the riving knife, and this has got two little notches that slide over two screws in the back of the saw. You simply lock the two screws in place with the same hex key. And once installed, you can see that the riving knife and the blade guard are firmly affixed. Since we're already on top of this saw, let's go ahead and install the fence. If we look at the entirety of the fence, you can see it's a pretty simple design, with both sides having these little L brackets. If we look at the locking mechanism, you can see as you push down on the orange handle, it simply depresses a small tab to lock the fence in place. And to install the fence, it's simply a matter of sliding those two L brackets over the table saw table. With the table saw now fully assembled, let's install the two handles on the side of the saw. And this is done quickly and easily by simply dropping the handle in place and tightening each one down with two hex bolts. And with pretty much everything assembled now, we just have three accessories that need to be put in their place. First off, let's grab that dust collection bag, and there's actually two places that we can install this. If we look at the bag, you can see it just has a spring-loaded connection. If we're using this saw as a miter saw, we'll attach this dust collection bag to the dust collection chute in the very back of the saw. However, if we're using this saw as a table saw, we'll attach this bag to the front dust collection chute, which is located in the very front of the saw. Next, let's grab that miter saw clamp, and this can be installed on the left-hand or right-hand side of the saw right behind the fence. And the only thing we have left is the bird's mouth push stick, and this has nice onboard storage right below the table saw table. And just like that, we have everything assembled and put in its proper place, but we need to talk about one of the most intriguing parts about this saw. How does this thing go from a miter saw to a table saw and back again? And how's it converted? You know, Mike Tyson tried to convert me to atheism. At least I think that's what he meant when he told me he would break my faith. Well, let's first talk about how we convert it from a miter saw to a table saw, as it's really a three-step process. To understand this process, we need to take a look at three orange levers on this tool. Let's take a look at the first one. The first orange knob is called the cutting release lever, and this is located right on the front of the tool. By simply depressing this lever, it allows the miter saw to raise and lower freely. Having this ability, we can lower that miter saw all the way down to its lowest point, and take a look at our second button, which is located in the very back of the saw and is called the cutting head lockdown pin. With the miter saw in its lowest position, we're simply going to push this pin so that it's locked into place. And with the saw in this position, we're ready for our third and final step, which is to raise the table saw blade. And this is done with a table miter mode pin, which is located right in front of the motor. By pulling out on this pin, we can raise the blade until it's locked into place. And if we look at the top of the table, you can see how it glides into position. And that's all there is to it. This is now a table saw, but what if we want to convert it back to a miter saw? This is really a two-step process, using a couple of the levers we've already used. We'll first lower the blade of the table saw by pulling out once again on that table miter mode pin. With the blade now lowered, we can move on to our second and final step, which is to pull out on the cutting head lockdown pin. And just like that, we're back into business with the miter saw in only 2 steps. So now that we know how to convert this thing, let's take a look at some of the features of the miter saw and how this thing cuts. You know, a lumberjack once told me he had cut down 572 trees. I asked him how the heck did he know? He told me he keeps a log. So let's first take a look at the types of miters you can make with this saw, as it's got a pretty extensive range. To adjust the saw, you'll once again find an orange button on the very front of the miter saw. By depressing this button, you can move the saw left or right to find the exact miter that you want. And it has a pretty impressive range, going 45 degrees in either direction. And once you find the angle you want, you'll find an orange knob right in front of that button. By turning this knob in the clockwise direction, you can firmly lock your angle into place. The saw also has detents to hit some of your most commonly used angles. Let's take a look at those. It actually has 9 of them, including plus or minus 45, 31.6, 22.5, 15, and 0 degrees. And this miter saw can not only handle horizontal miters, but also vertical ones, making this a compound miter saw. If we look at the very back of the saw, you'll find another orange knob. By unscrewing this knob, you can loosen and tighten the saw to find your vertical miter. And if we look at the very back of the saw, you can see there's a gauge to tell you exactly what angle you're at. Now, unfortunately, there aren't any presets or detents with these angles, but the major ones are highlighted and easy to read. Now let's take a look at the back fence of this miter saw. The fence is about 1 3/4 inches tall and about 7.5 inches on either side of the blade. You'll also notice that the fence on the right-hand side of the saw has a scale in both imperial and metric going to about 19 centimeters or 7.5 inches. Now let's take a look at how this miter saw actually functions so we can do a few tests. To start the miter saw, you'll once again find an orange trigger button right behind the handle. This will start the blade turning, but you won't actually be able to lower the blade. To lower the blade, we're going to have to press a second button. And that button is once again the cutting head release button, which is the same button that we used to convert the miter saw to the table saw. So by using a combination of both buttons, we can lower the blade to make our cut. Now you may have noticed a green and a red button on the very front of the saw. This is meant to be used when the saw is being used as a table saw. And we'll go over that in just a moment, but you can press the green button when it's in miter saw mode and this will initiate the blade. Now before we do a couple of test cuts on the saw with a 2x4, let's talk about this saw's capacity. As it has a horizontal cut capacity of 4 3/4 of an inch and a vertical capacity of 2 3/16 of an inch. And in getting those measurements, I should probably talk about something that I don't like about this saw, and that is the blade guard. Now I know this guard is for safety, but it would be really nice if it would tuck away like other saws once you go to make your cut. As I could see this guard getting in the way to lining up your measurement with the saw blade. And I think this could be a pretty big issue down the road, so just be aware of it. So let's do a few test cuts. Let's first do a simple 90-degree cut with this saw. With that cut made, let's take our trusty square and see how accurate it is. And as I put my flashlight in between the square and the cut, you can see there's no daylight, which is pretty good to me. Now let's try a horizontal 45-degree miter. Now did you see that this saw isn't able to do a 45-degree miter on a 2x4? This is going to be another pretty big issue with this saw, as the only wood that I would be mitering with this saw would be a 2x4. But even though the horizontal miter doesn't work, let's try the vertical one. With that cut made, let's take my digital angle finder and see what angle we're at. And as you can see, we're close, but not quite there, at 47.9 degrees. Now fortunately, both the horizontal and vertical miter pointers can be adjusted, as there's a little screw and you can adjust it so that you can do some fine tuning. So all is not lost with the accuracy of this saw. Let's do one final test. For this final test, I want to see how accurate those markings on the fence are. So I'm going to take a piece of 2x4, slide it into the 3-inch mark, and cut a piece off. And if I give it a quick measure, you can see that it's spot on at 3 inches exactly, so I'm pretty pleased about that. Well, overall, I'm pretty impressed with this miter saw, although it does have a few limitations, but we need to check out that table saw. Before we check out that table saw, do me a huge favor, hit that subscribe button, leave a like, leave a comment, and share this video, as it really does help out this woodworking channel. Also, if you haven't already, make sure you check out my website, FlynnDoggWoodwork.com. There you can find all sorts of fun woodworking accessories like all the t-shirts that I wear in my videos. Lastly, if you'd like to support the channel even further, check out my channel memberships. There you get early access to all my videos as well as one member video a week. Now let's get back to the table saw. So instead of cross cuts, the table saw is going to be all about rip cuts. What do you call a ripped piece of plywood? A piece of sheet! So let's quickly convert this miter saw into a table saw using that simple 3-step process. First, we'll press the cutting head release button and drop the saw. Then we can push the cutting head lockdown pin. And finally, we'll raise the blade using the table miter mode pin. And just like that, we're ready to make some rips, but let's first take a look at the features of this table saw. First, let's take a look at that fence and the capacity of the fence. On the top of the table, you'll see there's a scale that you can set your fence by, and you can even see there's an orange line to show you your blade curve. If you remember to adjust the fence, you'll simply raise the tabs on the front and the back of the fence to move it where you want. Once you have your alignments made, you'll line it up with the measurements both on the front and the back of the table and lock it into place with the 2 orange tabs. And since the front and the back of the fence move independently from each other, it's going to be very important that you don't have the back of the fence at a smaller measurement than the front. So you really need to pay attention to this, as you're almost guaranteed to get kickback if that's the case. If we look at the right-hand side of the table saw blade, you can see you can safely get about 5.5 inches of capacity. But you can also place this fence on the left-hand side of the table. And with it in this configuration, you can get about 2.25 inches of capacity. Now, we mentioned earlier that the saw has a blade guard as well as a riving knife, which is something that you absolutely need. Now, I love the fact that this saw's got a riving knife, but that blade guard might get in the way of lining up your cuts, as the majority of the blade is covered in black and it can be hard to see where you're at. Now let's talk about the blade itself, as there's quite a few limitations with this setup. First off, you have no ability to raise or lower the blade, as it's just a 1 height setting. But it does have a little bit over 1.5 inches of height, which should be enough to get you through a 2x4. The other drawback of this setup is you have no ability to change the angle of the blade, and you're stuck with a 90-degree cut. But it appears to be very accurate at that 90 degrees. If I remove that blade guard, you can see it lines up right to my square. Another limitation of this saw in table saw mode is it doesn't have a miter slot, so you can't use a miter gauge. But since this saw doubles as a miter saw, that may not be an issue. Now let's talk about the operation of the table saw. If you remember from before, there was that red and green button on the very front. With the saw now in table saw mode, when you press that green button, the saw will stay on until you press the red button. So a very simple operation. You'll also remember that we need to move the dust collection bag from the back of the saw to the front. And really, that's about it. So let's do a few test cuts. So let's grab a 2x4 and that push stick that's stored underneath the table and do a rip cut. And for this cut, I want to test 2 things here. I first want to make sure that that cut is at 90 degrees, and I also want to test the scale on the fence, in this case 1.5 inches. So let's fire up this saw, make the cut, and see how it performs. First off, let's check for square, and as you can see, this looks pretty good. And if we look at the width of cut, you can see we're right on at 1.5 inches, which is another good sign. Now, as I made that cut, you may have seen the saw move a bit, and that's because there's a little bit of give with this saw. Let's take a look at it. Now, I don't have this thing mounted to my table, so that's part of it, but even so, it still has a little bit of wiggle room with the tabletop itself. Now, although it won't help with that tabletop movement, there is a solution to help with the back and forward motion. If we look at the back of the saw, you can see there's a little metal bar here. If we pull this out, it gives a little bit more support to the back of the table saw. But by far, the smartest thing to do with this saw would be to mount it to a tabletop. I also wanted to point out one other thing with the dust collection. I'm pretty sure this sawdust is supposed to go inside the bag. But let's do a quick comparison with the dust collection hose added. And as you can see, it's considerably better with most of the dust coming from the top of the table saw. Now let's do one last test to see how powerful this saw is. Now this has got a 12 amp motor on it, but I just want to cut through some hardwood to see if it can tackle it, in this case some hickory flooring. And as I cut through this 3/4 inch hickory flooring, I'm actually surprised at how well it's tackling it. So pretty interesting, right? So is it a gimmick or is it a useful tool? Well, I don't think this is for woodworking. Instead, I think this is a tool for somebody that may live in an apartment or somewhere where they just can't have a larger table saw and miter saw. But it sure was a heck of a lot of fun to check out this unique invention. Well, I really appreciate you joining me today. If you haven't already, do me a huge favor, hit that subscribe button, leave a like, leave a comment, and share this video, as it truly does help out this woodworking channel. Also, hit up my website, Flynndogwoodwork.com. There you'll find all sorts of fun woodworking accessories like all the t-shirts that I wear in my videos. And finally, if you'd like to support the channel, check out my channel memberships in the description below. There you get early access to all my videos as well as one member video a week. Until next time, take care as always. All right, let's get it. You know, my ex-wife once handed me 2 kayak paddles. She asked me, which one do you want? I said, either or. Come on. Yeah. Let's try this one. What do you call the sweat produced when 2 rednecks are getting busy? Relative humidity. Come on. Hey. All right, let's try. Did you hear about the guy that cut off 2 fingers with a miter saw? Yeah, he went to the doctor and asked if he'd ever be able to write with it again. Doctor told him probably, but I wouldn't count on it.